We saw this.
Hey, everybody.
And we have a blue filter this time because I'm blue, ba-ba-dee-ba-ba-da.
Never do that again. Don't remind the internet that exists. It's from a different time. No, I foolishly agreed a few days ago that I would watch a film for Backseat critique.
You see, this one is not a patron request,
No.
although we have several of them. The reason going for this one, even though it's like 5 years old, is because years and years and years ago, at the height of my doing Rapture movies, I found the trailer for this, and I was like, well, that looks like crap / amusing.
Your Rapture period.
It's our blue period.
That's exactly what made me think of that, actually.
So I thought it looked fairly crap, but I wanted to see it. And then I forgot about it promptly, and then, but last month we were in Belfast, and I found in the bargain bin of an HMV, it for like £2, like, yeah, that exists, I want to see that.
Is that the only HMV left in the north?
I think so.
Because the one in Derry's closed. I don't think there's one in Corian.
I think it's the one in Northern Ireland, yeah. So,
The last HMV in Northern Ireland.
so that's why I'm watching Rapture Palooza, because it's not often I can convince Omega to watch a film that's
That's
not
true. Where did you put it?
behind you.
Well, of course.
Omega's all,
obviously behind you.
I'm working all the time and being American and learning about psychology. I know about the mind.
I'm not learning about psychology at this point. I'm learning about a very, very, very specific experiment that I'm conducting.
I know.
Actually, no,
about the
I'm
mind.
exploiting secondary data, so it's basically a lot of statistic analysis. It has no experimental design, so don't think I'm...
I'm a big fan of secondary data exploitation.
Well, I am, because here's the thing, you don't have to apply for the ethics for it. You know, we have to pay for the
Unethical.
data because it's actually, I'm exploiting ALSPAC data from the University of Bristol on their ALSPAC survey. So that's how they can afford to keep the study running for several generations, hopefully, is through, data rights permission. So,
Exploitation.
well, yeah, that's the proper term, to exploit data.
Explain film.
Anyway, so it's called Rapture Palooza, and...
Bad name, bad title.
Yeah, I think I was prepared for this to really suck, but it was actually kind of funny. It did have... I'll say right away that it had a very TV sitcom kind of style.
Yeah.
Both in the acting and the editing and the pacing.
Which I wasn't into. I would prefer it, it's really ironic given how over the top I act and when I'm performing, but in comedy I really prefer it to be low key and restrained, and then the madness sort of is the it creates a wonderful juxtaposition with everything else, like Airplane. As far as I'm concerned, all comedy should be played straight.
Well, Airplane is, like, iconic, though.
Yeah, but they were the Zaz team were the first ones to really make that a proper comedy style in film.
That's a good point. But yeah, so basically, it begins with a rapture, and lots of people get raptured, and then, torments show up like locusts and raining blood.
They keep
and
biting you and, yelling, "Suffer!
They're
Suffer!"
really funny. And meteors and stuff like that. So it's this one character, and the character and her boyfriend are described as teen, but they look and act like 20-somethings.
Yeah.
So we're pretty sure they're 20-somethings. And so they're like, oh, we're just trying to make a living after the apocalypse.
The couple, you've got Anna Kendrick, who is Oscar-nominated actress, and her boyfriend, who I forget the name of, but was one of the writers of Spider-Man Homecoming.
They did an okay job, But yeah, so there was a plague of wraiths for a while, but then a lot of them became unemployed, like potheads, which is played for laughs. It's a lot of it is just very weird, absurdist. So this happened. And
The wraiths are basically the guys. They look like zombies.
Yeah,
they have pallor.
They have goblin ears.
Yeah, goblin ears and crazy eyes and stuff. If the budget was bigger, it would have been wonderful to see them being demons or having maybe red skinned with giant, black winged, wings.
Although it probably would have ended up looking like how demons looked in all the Joss Whedon properties, like in Buffy and in Angel. And the one thing that really fucking bothered me about Angel was the fact that there's just... Okay, I'm just gonna let you know, even though it's been 2 decades now since Angel, because I had friends who were really into it in college, and I was just stupid. I really disliked that.
The demon bar.
Yeah, it's let's go hang out at the demon bar. Oh wait, no, I promised the fairies and the angels we'd go bowling. It's their bowling night.
Let's go.
I really despise that kind of Super Friends World of Darkness. No.
Let's not go to the demon bar. Let's go to the demon karaoke bar.
It's in Buffy, things happen, supernatural things happened, and people were like, oh my goodness. Oh well. But in Angel, it's just all hanging out there, isn't it?
But you notice, Angel, the very amazing symbolism in the thing?
No.
Because it's called Angel, because it's about a guy called Angel, but it's set in Los Angeles, which means the Angels.
I said City of Angels.
Yeah.
So
deep.
I had a friend who was seriously to David Boreanaz, but anyway, no. So this film was good. You made me think that it was going to be really, really.
Well, I have a memory of watching the trailer like 5 years ago. I remember thinking that A, it looked fairly bad, but B, I really wanted to see it. So that's what I sort of was going with. But when it began, I noticed it was written by Chris Matheson, and I was like, "Yay, Chris Matheson!" And you were like, "Who's Chris Matheson?" And I was like, "I'm not sure. I think it might be one of the guys who wrote Bill and Ted, or it might be Richard Matheson's son." Of course, theoretically, it could be both, but I don't think so.
No.
And it was the first guy, Bill and Ted, so that explains the wit. One of the problems is that there was quite a lot of ad-libbing, and you can tell bits going on way too long with people ad-libbing, trying to be funny. And the humor in those
See,
bits,
I thought that it was long, awkward exchanges on purpose. And I thought that was part of the pastiche of it.
I'm doubting
I don't
it.
really know anything about scripting. I just assume everything's supposed to be that way.
I am doubting it. Those little bits reminded me of Ghostbusters 2016. It's like,
oh no!
just
Chris invoked the title.
Chris Matheson is a good comedy writer. Stick to his script.
But no, there were parts that were really pretty funny. So basically, it was done in 2013,
yep.
And we're pretty sure that the Antichrist, who is African American, is meant to be making fun of Obama.
Probably because Obama was just the president at the time.
Because he's a black guy from the Midwest whose mayoral candidacy catchline is "Yes, I can."
Yeah, and he got these posters showing the beast, with the
in the Obama kind of iconic way.
Yeah, it's clearly they were just riffing on who was in power at the time.
And the thing is that, like I said, it's kind of unfortunate because, it has a lot of implications. The way he's behaving is very stereotypical, but I think it was done specifically to take the mickey out of Obama, not in a racist kind of way. Which, if it came out now, I don't think that I could say the same thing.
If they remade this today and they got a white guy to play the part and gave him crappy bleach blonde hair, but they changed nothing to do with the script,
people would still know it's Trump.
And that would be fucking amazing because this guy is he's an accidental parody of Trump.
And here's the thing: so the boyfriend character, his dad, works for the Beast. And
Rob Corddry from The Daily Show.
Aye. And there's this part where he's like, no, see, I don't agree with everything that he does, right? And she's like, well, he nuked Chicago. Yeah, no, see, but I mean, and every step of the way, it's basically the kind of Facebook conversations that you have with a Trump supporter, before, in 2013, before anyone had any ideas of anything. And I feel like you could take that bit, shorten it, put it on YouTube, and then just link people to it, and tell people that, they're making fun of Trump, and people would seriously
do it. Replace the visual on the TV with some visual of Trump doing
No, it doesn't even need to be a visual on TV, just after he comes and sits down. Because the TV isn't shown again after he's sitting down on the couch. And so basically, no, someone do this, and then, see if you can get it picked up by Fox News, and, see how many people you control, because I bet that'd be the kind of thing that right-wingers would go bugfuck nanners over, him being taken out of, basically, this is very topical, so, Home Alone 2 was edited for Canadian broadcast TV in 2014, and they cut, 8 minutes of footage, and one of them is Trump's cameo. He low-key, today on Twitter, or yesterday, accused Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, of going, essentially, doing it on purpose to spite him, as though the Prime Minister has, specific editorial control. He brought it up, on, Vegas, or After Effects, and was like, I'll just snip that, except in French.
Well,
and so
at least we now know that Trump is exactly... Well, we already knew this. But Trump is exactly so petty as he would do that.
Aye. That's what someone tweeted. He only says that because that's the kind of thing he would do.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I kind of want to see Home Alone 2 with Justin Trudeau digitally replacing Donald Trump in that scene now.
But here's the thing. They're losing their fucking minds over it. So if you got this bit... And someone could do it. Just set up a YouTube account that you unaffiliated with your Gmail. Just it doesn't matter if you lose it. Well, they would go bugfuck natter. Someone's got to do it.
We have a copy of the film. You could extract it and do it yourself if you want.
I don't want to do it.
Oh, too much work.
No, because I'd want to do it through a VPN, and I'd have to resubscribe to my VPN, and it's like it's €7.99 a month, and I don't know. So, but someone with a VPN do it for me. Just until like the people who actually made the movie would have to come out and be like, listen, no, this is from 2013. We're talking about the Antichrist, and then they just make it worse somehow.
Hilariously, the guy who plays the Antichrist was also in This Is the End in the exact same fucking year. So he was in 2 comedy apocalypse movies at the same time.
They came out five days within each other, according to IMDb. So.
It's like, usually I would be like, well, that's an amazing coincidence, though it is 2013, and what happened in 2012? There was the Mayan apocalypse hysteria.
Oh, right.
So
I forgot about that.
It's like a leftover that.
Oops, I forgot the world was supposed to end when it didn't. Do you know, I worked at Barnes & Noble, and in our spirituality / Wiccan / paganism / alternate kind of area, we actually had a 2012 section, and I said to my manager, what's going to happen in 2013 when the world didn't end? And he was like, I guess we're going to have to return all those books to publisher and destroy the section. That's what happened.
They'll just do minor edits and release it again.
We did. We took the Croy label off and everything. They all went back to publisher because the world didn't end.
So people keep predicting in a row that it never ends. And
people have been saying that since we had a concept of the world ending.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. But anyway, so the Beast wants to get with the main character.
So she can bear his evil children.
Because he had one evil child who just isn't evil enough. It's
sort of like the Jaden Smith of Antichrist.
Yeah. And so basically they come up with this plan to use... Because there's one zombie who's her undead neighbor, but all he wants to do is mow his lawn. So they enlist him in this plot.
They very quickly sort of just, You've got one of the main characters.
Well, no, because at the Revelation, the graves are supposed to open. And that's the.
I know, but that's supposed to be the Rapture itself. So you got one of them's mother is the only person who was ejected from heaven
for being a judgy bitch in the queue.
So she was. So that happens, and then of course they suddenly mention that I didn't know. I only knew one guy who came back, and which is a bit confusing because she also knew her mother came back.
She said a lot of people died during the apocalypse. The mom was raptured; she didn't die.
Yeah, I think it was scripted / edited in such a way to make it a little bit unclear.
Alright, well, and he's the only zombie so far in Seattle. He's
the only zombie we see, but there's zombies.
It's set in Seattle, so.
Yeah, because that's
it's filmed in Vancouver.
Naturally, that's where the Antichrist would want to live. I really wish the title had been like a riff on Left Behind in some way. I can't think of any a funny one off the top of my head.
The best I could come up with was Still Here.
Yeah,
it's not punchy.
It's almost not good as The Simpsons Left Below.
Yeah.
And because this is a pastiche of Rapture things, I kind of wish that the Antichrist had been the suave European guy, because that's the archetype that's used in all of these fucking things.
What was it? Dark Heart Rapes Babies?
Yeah, so that's
Dark Heart Rapes Babies, and I just made that up.
That's the most evil name since Nikolai Carpathia's most evil name since Dark Heart Rapes Babies, and I just made that up.
That was my favorite of your early reviews. Was Live Behind.
Because you got
the wailing wall is wailing.
Literally. The golden tit that is the Dome of the Rock. You get many camels in Iowa. But if you look at Rapture movies, 9 times out of 10, the Antichrist is some sort of suave European guy who's talking about peace a lot.
Now, is that only because American evangelicals innately hate and distrust Europe and the European Union?
Yeah, because
I feel like that's not part of original Rapture stuff from the 18-whatevers.
Most of the modern Rapture quote-unquote culture is coming from that community in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why it is. So having him being this sort of
there were a lot of atheists flying that day.
But it's having him be basically this big jocular sort of black guy who's a bit like a very low rent Vegas showman and a used car salesman. It's just, it doesn't really jive with what they're parodying.
It seemed like someone trying to do both Eddie Murphy and oh shit, your man, Big Mama's House. Who's that?
Martin Lawrence.
Thank you.
Like he's also a little bit like Bernie Mac.
He looked like Bernie Mac, but he didn't have Bernie Mac style.
I thought he had like a
little bit of the physical humor.
Little bits of and some stuff he did.
I always get Martin Lawrence confused up with your man who's Medea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only this guy and his style, I think would have worked better if they'd gone for a slightly more serious version. And then you've got the Antichrist is basically a Roman emperor, so everyone else is actually terrified of him, and it's done very seriously. But he's finding the whole thing really, really funny because he can do anything to hurt anyone, and it's fine.
Yeah, he didn't have any powers. Like she was like, "Aha, we'll have this plot to kill him," and I thought he'll just use his powers to. Oh wait, he really doesn't have any.
Yeah. So if you put this sort of version of the Antichrist into a more serious one, I think it would work better. And then if you put it in, if they somehow found a way to make the Nikolai Carpathia type funny, which you just honestly all you need to do is put Nikolai Carpathia in there because he's fucking hilarious.
You know what the guy would have to have? The accent that your man had in Star Wars 2. That I am my cupboard was cool. That guy.
Oh, Janosch.
Yeah.
You mean Ghostbusters 2?
Yeah.
You said Star Wars.
Oh, we just saw Star Wars a few days ago. But yeah, this total European accent that no Europeans actually have, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, Carpathia is like that as well. But
where are you from? Europe. What country? Europe.
No, Ghostbusters was like, where are you from? The Upper West Side?
No. I just meant, how...
Oh.
Because, there's a woman that I used to work with when I worked at the bookshop here who would always do an American accent. And I was like, no, Mary, that's no American sounds like that. She's like, you sound like that. Like, no, I don't. No American. It was kind of like elements of Midwestern, like a flat Midwestern vowel and like a Southern drawl, but then she'd go I was like, no American sounds like that. There's no region where that is the accent.
Americans love coffee.
Yeah, it was just, no, but that's what I was thinking of. Oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Europe. Oh, like an American, what part? Europe. That's what Brexiteers think Europe's like. This big, looming shadow where everyone has vaguely sinister Eastern European accents.
You could easily take the Carpathia archetype and turn it into a sort of comedy figure because he's practically all the way there in a way.
What was the premise behind Good Omens, the apocalypse and stuff?
Yeah, but it wasn't riffing on Rapture films. No. It was riffing on something completely different. So
actual
having their Antichrist. Well, their Antichrist, it was the childhood in Good Omens of the Antichrist. That was riffing on the Omen. Mm. That's why it was it was the American. That's why you had the whole thing about the one that they thought was the Antichrist, who was this kid of the American ambassador. So that was all riffing on something completely different. Yeah. So we're talking different kinds of Antichrist and Rapture.
There wasn't enough Christians running around being insufferable, because I feel like that's the main part of Rapture movies.
Yeah, but that actually, that is something that was missing. People who'd converted and were trying to fight against them, you could have had them being completely inconsequential and completely, just crap, who were useless at everything, but everything went right for them because God was protecting them. Mm-hmm. Something like that would have been pretty cool. Or if they'd hewed closer to...
Oh, and they accidentally shoot Jesus with a zombie with a laser cannon, and he dies.
They kill Jesus, and then they kill God.
God is a middle-aged Asian man.
Ken Jeong.
What's he been in?
He was in Community.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Gay!
I've seen a few episodes of Community. Okay, yeah, I know. I thought he looked familiar, but...
And so
everyone kind of looks familiar to me.
In the end, God, the devil, Jesus, they're all dead.
Face blind.
So apparently God's one weakness is to be electrocuted in a jacuzzi.
Yeah. So it wasn't as funny as it could have been.
A little bit anticlimactic.
But at the same time, it didn't suck. And there were some parts that were actually kind of funny, so...
Yeah, and the leader of the bodyguards of the Antichrist, he was like, who the fuck is that?
He looks a bit like a young Hugo Weaving.
He does look, yeah. So then I looked him up and I was like, oh yeah, it's the asshole from Welcome to the Jungle. He was also one of the Power Falcons in Key and Peele. The leader of the Power Falcons.
I don't watch much Key and Peele, only what you showed me.
I'm pretty sure I showed you Power Falcons. It was their Power Rangers parody where...
Oh, right. Yeah, where he was like... No, but did you mean me? Because I'm blue, but I'm black? No.
Yeah, the very, very good parody of it.
I think Key and Peele are funny, but, I don't watch much sketch comedy anymore.
I'm still sad that Key and Peele didn't get back together and to do the new Ghostbusters. I think those two together, writing and acting and directing, would be the perfect choice for new Ghostbusters.
I can see it.
I mean, spectacular choice.
I just still like the Obama anger translator.
But Peele is being very successful as a director. I believe he's retired as an actor.
Fair enough.
While Key is sort of going off and doing all his acting.
Doesn't mean they're not still friends. They're just not working together anymore.
I don't know if they were friends.
Or is it like Adam Savage and Jamie Hyneman? Like they've been coworkers for like the longest time, but they're not actually friends. Which I thought like meant that they were like antithetical to but like apparently no, they were just coworkers. That was their working relationship, but they're not like interpersonal friends. And I was like, right.
Yeah, with Key and Peele, I think that they started in a different show, and then basically they were two performers in, and there was a you two will give you a show, and they were like, okay.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think they were like inseparable or anything.
Oh. Well, I didn't
Could
know.
be wrong.
Because sometimes when you get comedy dyads like that, sometimes they're put together like by the studio, but then sometimes they come together like writing and like, oh, we do well together. Let's have a show.
Like Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson,
or like
they were best friends and partners for like 30
Martin
years.
And Lewis.
Yeah,
although that was weird.
Yes. Oh, but guys, you should see Bela Lugosi and Brooklyn Gorilla, because it's like Martin and Lewis.
This came up last night at the pub somehow.
These guys basically did their entire shtick, and it is rather amusing because it's crap. You have to see it. Probably on YouTube, honestly.
Yeah. No one cares anymore. It's really great, the movies that you can find in their entirety.
Yeah.
Like, not fucked about with so bots can't catch it just because nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, the movie's been up there for 10 years. No one cares enough to sue. It's just,
there's this bunch of this one called Classic Movies. There's one called, Kings of Horror. A bunch of them I'm baffled as to whether they have the rights to them or not, or just no one cares. Some of them, they probably have the rights if they're low budget.
Well, the problem with public domain stuff is public domain stuff gets used by everybody. And then whoever's got the public, who's used it in their video will then try to counterclaim. Like, I had a video years and years ago that I used bits from a Number Stations recording that the Kane Project had put online for free. It was public domain. And then some song used it, and then the label had my video taken down because they said, you're using that song, but I wasn't. I was using the public domain thing that they fucking sampled. Yeah. But this was back in the day, and I didn't care to challenge it, so I was like, well, fuck that then.
Yeah, there's Il Inferno, which is, I believe, the oldest existing feature film. It's Dance Inferno, an Italian version. It's pretty iconic imagery. But I really want to do a gag dub of it. Not so much dub because it's a silent movie. Replace the intertitles. And, for hilarious effect. But even though I've been out of copyright for, decades, I'm pretty sure if I try to upload, chunks of the film at once, or the entire thing, I'll end up getting a copyright strike, even though it's fucking ridiculous.
From some bot that's, actually a company that doesn't even own anything, they just go around trying to get monetization. Yeah. Because apparently that's a thing now. Companies that don't own the copyrights will just put a copyright claim in, and YouTube will be like, okay, makes sense to us. Yeah. And it's just some guy in maybe, I don't know, South Korea running, a computer with, or a botnet with scripts. Yeah. It's not even an actual company. But anyway, the apocalypse was alright.
Yeah. It was fine, especially if you get it like I did for about $2.
Yeah, you did. It was $1.99 at HMV. Yeah. So, yes. The end of the world was fine, really. It was fine.
Yeah, and the mother who was...
I should do it how God was... Oh, it was fine, really. It was fine.
And then you got the mother who was thrown out of heaven. She's spending the entire time in a nervous breakdown until she starts smoking pot with,
With the wraiths.
Because they're all potted together.
I made beans last night in the crock pot. You can have some later. It was great. So we definitely have a thumb up from us. A thumb like this. No. That's half a thumb. There you go. Well, you'll have to turn it off because my arms aren't long enough, so...
It's over there.
That's not my problem, isn't it?
Oh, I'm just going to sit here then.
Oh, but I don't know where the button is.
Neither do I.
It's your camera. It's a new camera. Mine broke.
Yeah, this one's old.
Well, you turned it on, didn't you?
That's because I'm sexy.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm not gonna... I don't know when I'm pressing... I could be turning the power...